Hey everybody, Anthony 4x4 Diesel. Just a quick video. We've just finished some work on this vehicle. It was a major service and a injector replacement job. So what I thought I'd do is a quick video just going over the checks under the bonnet that we do after any major work on a vehicle, the sort of things we check. Now I'm out here in a little bit of a breeze at the moment. Got a few birds chirping, a bit of wind blowing, so hopefully you can hear me okay. If it's not, you'll just have to turn the volume up. So just want to take the opportunity also to remind you we are fully booked for August, September, between all the bookings. And look, there might be the odd inspection available, something like that. So just text me. But all the bigger jobs, injector replacement at this stage, probably not going to be happening again until October, between the bookings and the couple of weeks school holidays we take off. Yeah, so sorry about that, but make contact in October for that. And as far as parts go, it's usual Monday morning, 7:30 a.m. text message is the time to make contact, and all the information you need in the playlists, how to buy my kits, injector kit information, injectors information, BFE information, all that sort of thing. Now let's get on to this. So 160k service completed. 150k we also did, of course. That's where we did the BFE and the coolant, that sort of thing. So all the coolant was done then rather than 160. On this service we've done a brake fluid flush, so we want to make sure that, let's just work our way from this side, work our way round. Brake fluid, the cap's on, that it's at the right level, and there's no brake fluid everywhere. So of course we wash and blow dry and allow it all to dry. We should have cleaned the MAF sensor, not really part of this service, but sometimes we do that depending on the condition of the air filter. In this case, because we would have done it or checked it at 150, and the owner uses the vehicle off-road, so he needs to know about checking the air filter and the MAF sensor. So that's something we sometimes do leave to the owner, so make sure you're aware of that. Let us know the situation if you've changed it recently or not. Of course, battery terminals and battery security, all part of the service. Check for leaks and deterioration down each side of the radiator. Make sure the coolant's at the right level, that it's not leaking every bit of water, just hasn't evaporated. That's all. You can have a look at the driver belt, but it was new at the BFE 150, so there's nothing to look at here. Fill up your wash bottle, make sure that's done. Put a bit of washer fluid in there if you like. But if you've watched that silly movie, it's called Outback. Check it out. It's on Netflix, right? You can have a real laugh, right? All the things, how many things, put it in the comment if you've watched that movie or you're going to watch it. How many things did they do wrong? It's just completely ridiculous. You'd never do anything like that. It's about a, you know, I mean, it's obviously it's not based on a true story, anything that I know of, but, you know, complete fiction. But couple of American tourists out in Australia, and they're out there in a BF Falcon wagon, whatever, and, you know, just completely no idea. Quite funny, actually. So watch it. Only goes for about an hour and a half, I think. Me and Mitch were sitting there watching it last night going, mate, that's just ridiculous. Like, so many things they did wrong there. But anyway, and yeah, a real brainiac he was. But anyway, so yeah, if you watch that movie, fill up your wash bottle, but don't put any washer solution in there, because you might end up drinking it one day, and drain your coolant and fill it up with clean water. So that way, worst case scenario, you don't take any water. When you get back to the car, you can drink the water out of the cooling system. Anyway, I hope you're having a laugh with me. Back to the serious side of the video though. What are we checking and inspecting after we did the video? Take this moment as well to remind people, do not lean on this. It will break. You know, it's a small piece of plastic and that will break if you lean on it. If you're putting the battery in and out, whoever's replacing this battery, be careful, because you tend to lift it in. It's a bit of a reach. It's heavy. It's like 20 kilos more or less. And the battery, if it touches there, grips up on the rubber and sort of pulls it, that'll snap it as well, even if you don't put the full weight of the battery on it. So beware of that. Checking for leaks, deterioration at the hoses, make sure everything looks right. Check your oil level, you know, dipstick there, make sure the cap's on. Have a look at the oil filter, you've road tested it, make sure there's no leaks of oil down there, anything like that, after you've done a service and changed the oil filter. Check the power steering oil level. Sometimes they can be a bit dirty and a bit hard to see, but you know, it's hot minimum, cold maximum, a few different readings there. Anything thereabouts will do. Part of the service really is you should remove every now and then, not every service, but remove this battery bracket and check all the fluid levels. So making sure the battery security is good, the battery terminals, wires. We've talked about electrical. Let's not waste time in this video. I was going to try and keep it short. What sort of things you're looking at after the service, and of course after injector replacement job. At the moment I've covered kind of the service item things you'd be checking, but we'll get to the after the injector job things you can see that might be wrong from up here. Fuel filter, we're out of stock on these at the moment, so we haven't changed that. We'd normally do that on a 160, even though it's not part of Toyota's service, so I'll let the client know that we haven't done that. And of course he's got the extra one there as well that hasn't caused any problems yet. Probably cleaning the fuel a little bit, hasn't caused any problems, so happy days. Always make sure these fuel hoses end up sitting in a spot where they're not rubbing on, I'm just having a look where that is actually. Yeah, because that one's tucked in there. I'm gonna have a look at that a bit. What's going on there actually, because that sort of, yeah, so that was a bit tucked in. So you got to watch the power steering reservoir. So from the injector job, that was probably just moved there a little bit, you know, moving things out of the way. So there we go. We kind of just found something on our final inspection, but you don't want any of these hoses. What often happens when you haven't got the extra fuel filter is this extra hose ends up sitting up, hitting on the power steering, and of course it can rub through. So make power steering level right, fuel hoses are right, fuel filters, no leaks, anything like that. Make sure the plugs are plugged in and secure, not rubbing around, that sort of thing. That pretty much covers the service, the things we've worked on that we would check. Now on the injector job, some of the most important checks you can do after an injector job is making sure that that bolt, so if you've done the E-jar clean, that bolt underneath on the E-jar cooler down under there that you can't see behind this hose, make sure it's in there and make sure it's tight. Really important. You can check these ones on the clamps here as well, make sure they're done correctly. Make sure you got clamp on number 4 fuel pipe back there. Make sure you got all your other couple other fuel line clamps. You can see those two there, they need to be in position. Plug there, you'll get an engine light if you mess this one up. Make sure there's no oil leaks at all the injectors, at any of the fuel pipes, top or bottom. New pipes, talk to spec, you're not going to have any issues, but check that out. You can check this intercooler hose down here. If it's slipped down, you can bring that up if you like. Make sure this PC crankcase ventilation hose is on, and if you've taken the bolt out that mounts it underneath, make sure that's in and tight. Check down the back for oil leaks at the valve cover in case you have dropped the gasket out or damaged the gasket, or there's one with a split in it or a cut in it, some accidental manufacturing problem, whatever. It could happen. Hasn't happened to us ever yet, but it could happen. So just checking for oil leaks, loose bolts. Make sure you tightened up these in the cover here. You got 2 at the front, you got 1 in the middle, don't over tighten it, and 1 down the back. So make sure all those bolts are in and they're tight. Make sure these are tight. The road test will bring a lot of things up. If you go for a road test and you hear noises and then you come back and you check things afterwards, it's a good thing to do. That's what we always do. Make sure, of course, so those are tight. These ones at the throttle body, the ones at the back of the E-jar valve, there's 3 nuts as well. Make sure they're all tight. These ones on the side here of this little guard, that can come loose. We talked about that before. So if there's no fuel leaks, there's no oil leaks, your hoses are right. Check your clamp, so you got your clamp there as well. Vacuum line on the bottom of that, yep, so that one in the middle of the picture down there, make sure that's on. Of course, you got your pink and your yellow kind of right in between there. You can see which one's which, right there, yep. Right. All your plugs on, your clips in, your map filters there, it's clipped in position. Make sure your hose is on as much as possible. They don't make these too long. They actually do need to be a bit longer, because if you pull it on any more, you actually put a bend in it here, and that's going to start choking it up a little bit. So bit of re-engineering there. So that's something that Toyota wasn't 100% bang on in my opinion, but it does the job. So just be aware of that, keep an eye on it. Make sure they're clean when you put them on, otherwise they can slip off. Other than that, it's looking pretty good. So no oil leaks, no coolant leaks, everything's on the right level. It's beautiful, it's quiet, there's no rattles, there's no missing leftover nuts and bolts on the bench. That's always good. So now all we need is someone to pick up the vehicle, and happy days, mate. They'll be happy, the car's out of here, we're happy, and it's not coming back for seconds. Everybody's happy. What else can I come up with to try and, I don't know, another minute? Surely I can do another minute. I'm aiming for 10 minutes, right? When I do a video, I'm actually aiming for 10 minutes, so could be 5 minutes, could be 15, but I'm aiming for about 10, but I don't care too much, because, you know, some people like it short. They say you waffle too much, like now, but then other people love it because there's information in every word, isn't there? So this aircon compressor looks a bit rusty in color for some reason, bit odd. You don't normally get that. And also see on the pulley there's a bit of a, you know, I'm tipping just probably, you know, we've worked on it, we've washed the engine, and that's the position the belt was sitting in. So overnight, last night, something like that, and as soon as it's been driven, you know, 20-30 k's, that'll probably sort of polish itself off. So nothing to worry about, just letting you know what it is in case you see it yourself. Putting an earth strap for a battery system from here to the body of the car, we've discussed, would be much better than taking it across, putting it on the alloy of the head, and that just puts it in the way of things. But anyway, that's a separate story, but we've got 20 seconds to go. No leaks, no deterioration, batteries are secure, can't see anything loose. It's always good if you spend this much time checking over a vehicle before you give it back to someone. because we've spent a lot more time on this actually. There's two of us and we both do a lot of checks and we don't want any comebacks. So bada bing, bada boom. Hopefully you liked it. Hit the like button, subscribe, turn the bell on. That's 10 minutes. That's enough info for you, so I'm out of here. Thanks for watching. See ya.